Hey everybody, sorry I'm not showered and shaved yet this morning. It's actually 1:22 in the afternoon on April 5th, and I just wanted to make a video to let people know where my research is at and what I believe is actually happening in the world right now. And again, I want to say this is my personal research. I trust in my research, but that's because I did the research myself. So I'm not asking you to trust me. I want you to do the research for yourself. If you don't have the time to do it, I will try and provide links in the description of this video or the post on social media of this video for you to go and look at different things and do the research yourself, weigh it up, meditate about it, think about it. But the media is not giving us the truth, and we all know that. We know that the reaction of the governments around the world far outweighs the impact of this virus. There's clearly more going on than what we realize. So here's my research so far. Some of you may have heard of the Georgia Guidestones. These are solid granite monuments put up in Georgia, the United States state of Georgia, in 1980. They were erected like overnight. They just appeared. No one really knows who did it or why. You can read about it on Wikipedia. Georgia Guidestones. Written, carved in stone in 8 modern languages: Japanese, Chinese, Arabic, English, French, Spanish. 8 modern languages is written their rules for the earth. And it's basically the Agenda 21 plan, which is to corral all humans into mega cities and leave most of the earth human free so that it can recover from us terrible humans. And part of this plan, written in stone, is that we will maintain Earth's population at or below 500 million, which means roughly 6.5 billion people need to be eradicated somehow. Now, this was the plan, and I believe what we are seeing now is what would have happened if, and this is going to offend some people, but please just bear with me here. If Hillary Clinton had won, we would have gone into World War III. Most probably, Iran or North Korea would have attacked, Iran probably would have attacked Israel with nuclear weapons, which would have triggered World War III, and it would have been terrible. And if that failed, we would have had this virus, the coronavirus, COVID-19 outbreak right now, which is happening. And the world is following the script, but the disease is not real. And let me clarify that. There is really a disease called SARS-CoV. It's SARS-CoV-19, which is basically the severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS, CoV, which is coronavirus 2019, which is when it was developed. And this is nothing to be afraid of. We get a new flu virus every year. Every flu season is a new novel coronavirus or rhinovirus, okay? So these are not very bad. And in 2018, 80,000 Americans were killed by the flu virus, the novel flu virus of 2018. 900,000 people were rushed to the hospital with it just in America, okay? So now worldwide we have over 1 million people infected, and there's around 65 to 70,000 deaths worldwide from this thing over 5 months. It's April 5th. So I don't know what the numbers will be when you're watching this video, but it's not a global pandemic, clearly. I've looked into the head of the World Health Organization, and he is a criminal from Ethiopia who has done terrible things to his people, and he's now put in charge of doing terrible things to the world's people. That's why the World Health Organization is saying it's a global pandemic, and they want to lock everyone down, and they want to have martial law. And what they would have done, I believe, is once we're all locked inside in our houses, the police, military, whoever would go door to door and collect people like me, the people who could not be trained. We would be taken off as infected, and we would be eradicated. And if that happens, if people like me do disappear, then sorry, but you're all fucked. Pardon my language, but we're all fucked. But so far, I'm still here, and that leads me to believe that maybe my research is accurate. And I believe the plan failed because because Donald Trump won. I know it's ridiculous. It's crazy because he's an idiot. He's a moron. He is an actor. He is a reality TV star. And he is a puppet of the military. Not a total puppet. I believe he's genuinely a genius, and he genuinely knows what he's doing, and he's doing good. And they've stopped this. Now, let me explain. Have you ever heard of the drug adrenochrome? Sorry, my computer's going to sleep because I'm recording this on QuickTime because I don't have time to set up my camera. Have you ever heard of adrenochrome? It is one of the most addictive and most expensive drugs in the world, and it is made from adrenalized blood of a human being. So someone who's experienced terror and their adrenaline is pumping, and then you harvest their blood and drink it, and it is the most intoxicating and powerful drug known to humankind, apparently. The best source of this drug is a live human who has been terrified, and then you harvest their blood. So when you hear that the elites drink the blood of babies, it's not some weird religious practice. Well, it is also, but it's also a drug addict, and that's how they get a lot of people addicted. Now, Trump has just come down hard on the company 3M, the Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing Corporation. 3M has just been caught refusing to sell their masks to US hospitals and government agencies and instead selling them overseas to Canada and to other places. That's not the real story. Who owns the patent for the extraction and production of adrenochrome? 3M. Google it. 3M, the Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing Company, owns the patent on the production of adrenochrome. Okay, now here's where it's not 100% verified. All of this up until this point is 100% verified. Now, I've heard that one of the largest production centers for adrenochrome was Wuhan, China. Now we know about Falun Gong and how the Chinese government harvests the organs of their political opponents, so it's not too far outside the realms of possibility. We heard about these pills that were made from dead human baby flesh that were captured by US immigration. They were trying to be smuggled. Dead baby pills are like a health tonic made in China, okay? So it's not too far to the realms of possibility that 3M had a production facility in Wuhan, China that was producing adrenochrome. Who's addicted to adrenochrome? All of the elites, because this is how you get to the top, okay? I made a movie that won the New York Independent Film Festival in 2005. I was invited to the Playboy Mansion. I turned it down because of my religious beliefs and because I was in Australia at the time, but it showed me in hindsight how it operates. If you're an up-and-coming person, let's say in the entertainment industry, you would be invited to a party at the Playboy Mansion. When you're there, you're schmoozed. Maybe Hugh Hefner himself, when he was still there, would have come up to you and been, "Oh, we really like what you're doing. You're so talented. Hey, would you like to have some private time with one of the ladies?" Cool, why not? Hey, we'll put you in a private room. Maybe you'd like something a little younger. And of course, Playboy Mansion would have been fitted out with cameras and all kinds of recording devices. Now they have you on film doing illegal things with an underage person. They've got you by the balls. Now you're one of them, okay? And I believe that Hugh Hefner and Playboy and the porn industry was that for Hollywood and the entertainment side. Jeffrey Epstein did the same thing for politicians and royals and CEOs. He was the Hugh Hefner of the corporate world. Worldwide, he would supply them with, because this gets even deeper. Once you are already caught having sex with a young person, and then maybe they give you some adrenochrome, and now you're addicted, and now they tell you where it's from, and then one day you get invited to a party. Watch the movie Eyes Wide Shut. You get invited to a party, and next thing you know, bad stuff's happening, but you're there already. Now what are you going to do? Maybe they're even, God forbid, this is what I've heard, sacrificing a live person, maybe even a child, human child. Who are you going to tell? The chief of police is right there. Maybe even the president, the mayor, all the top people are there. Who are you going to tell? You're stuck. There's a great movie called The Brotherhood of the Bell, made in, I think, the 60s. And if you want to understand how these secret societies work, watch that movie, The Brotherhood of the Bell. I'll try and put a link down below, but it always keeps getting deleted. It's about a guy who joins a secret society, and they help him progress through his career. And then when he's in his 60s, they ask him for a favor. They want a position that one of his good friends is going for. They want to give to one of their people. But his friend is the most qualified, but he is the one tasked with telling his friend, pass up the position or we will ruin your life. And of course, his friend chooses not to. I think his friend commits suicide even, and that just destroys this guy. He's like, I can't go on with this. So he tries to fight the cabal, the Brotherhood of the Bell, as they call it in the movie, and they proceed to ruin his life. And that's how they operated. That's how they have operated this whole time. Once you're in, you can't get out because they have this damning evidence on you. So all of the elites are addicted to adrenochrome. which is produced in Wuhan, China. Hold on, my computer's frozen. I want to make sure it's still recording. They don't want this to get out. I'm going to pretend it's still recording. It's frozen on my screen, so I hope that this is still recording. Everyone, all the elites are addicted to adrenochrome. They infected the last shipment of adrenochrome. That's what I'm hearing. So all these celebrities, politicians, the Pope, all these Catholic priests in Italy who died from coronavirus, they genuinely got tainted adrenochrome with this biological weapon. Where did the biological weapon come from? It's not COVID-19. Charles Lieber is a Harvard University professor who was arrested for conspiring with China. He was paid, I think, $1.5 million to set up the biosecurity lab in Wuhan, China, and he got like $50,000 a month for continued help in developing this bioweapon. China, again, this is what I've heard, not confirmed, China was developing a bioweapon to stop the Hong Kong protests, which were getting out of hand. They couldn't overtly crack down on it. They were already doing that. I mean, they were taking people away in trains and they just disappeared. But there were also protests in Wuhan, China, and all around mainland China. And they were developing a bioweapon which would have basically, think of a very bad reaction to vaccines. Those of you who think it's bullshit, look it up. They would have been basically autistic. They would have turned millions and millions of these protesters into autistic people who need constant care. Boom, all the resistance is done. But their bioweapon that was developed by these Harvard scientists, there's also two other professors who were arrested. One turned out to be a lieutenant in the Chinese military. Another one was trying to smuggle 7 vials of biological samples out of the US back to China. This is bad, guys. What I've been told is that China backed out. They found out that this bioweapon was far more deadly than they anticipated. They just wanted to control their population, but this would have killed them in the most horrific ways. So they decided not to. Some bad actors in the region released it anyway in the Wuhan wet food market, that where everyone says it came from a bat. No, it was released intentionally. China freaked out. They locked it down. They were welding the doors shut on apartment buildings. They were pouring cement and dirt, filling in tunnels and road tunnels out. They were dead serious, and they reacted the way no other country has. No other country has reacted the way that China reacted. I believe the rest of the world is just following the script, because this is what was supposed to happen. They didn't tell China that this bioweapon was going to be this deadly, because their plan was to reduce the world population to 500 million, which means 6.5 billion of us were supposed to die. But Trump is not in charge. He's the face of this operation. They stopped him, and they are using their own weapon against them. That's why all the elites seem to be sick with this virus, and we're all quarantined. There is a real infection. It's the flu going around, but there is also a bioweapon going around out there, which you could get. So be careful, okay? Don't freak out, but be careful. Excuse me. So what do I believe is actually happening? I believe that Trump is taking control of the U.S. military, which he had as president. He's now merged the U.S. Treasury Department and the Fed, the Federal Reserve, into one. So for the first time since 1913, the US government has control over its own money supply. See, the Federal Reserve is not a federal government entity any more than Federal Express is. It is a privately owned bank owned by international banksters who got control of the US money supply, and that happened in 1913 because Astor and all these people, Guggenheim, and all the people who were opposed to the Federal Reserve were on the Titanic, and they died. I'll link to a New York Times article from 1912 to that exact incident. Now people have come out and said, no, they were actually against it. No, they were against the Federal Reserve, and they died on the Titanic, and that is how the Federal Reserve was created, and it took away control, took away the ability of the US to print their own money, and gave it to a private corporation. And then World War I bankrupted most nations, so they had to base their currency on the British pound sterling. Then World War II bankrupted them, so everyone had to base their world currencies on the US dollar. Then Vietnam and the Korean War and all that bankrupted the United States. So the Bretton Woods Agreement we had to take in 1971. Nixon took the US off of the gold standard. Now what is backing the currency? The US military formed OPEC. They went to the Middle East and they said, as long as you guarantee to only sell oil in US dollars, we will protect you with our military. Boom, the petrodollar was born. And now, even if China and Russia want to buy oil from Saudi Arabia, they first have to go and buy US dollars, then they can buy the oil in US dollars. Saddam Hussein started buying started selling Iraq's oil for euros under the UN's Oil for Food program. What did we do? We invaded, we killed him, and we put Iraq back on the US dollar. Now they're selling oil in US dollars again. Assad from Syria started selling oil in euros, and we tried to kill him, but Trump got in and Trump stopped it. Believe what you want, do your own research, okay? But that's what I've seen from my study of history. And now Trump has merged the Federal Reserve with the US Treasury Department, which means he's back in control of the US money supply, and he's sidling up to Ripple. Look it up. Ripple is like Bitcoin. It's a cryptocurrency, but it partnered with banks. Ripple hasn't been selling to you and me. It's been selling to Morgan Chase and Morgan Stanley, and all these banking institutions are using it to do intercontinental and foreign currency exchanges, right? I believe we should start investing in Ripple now. And you can do it if you own Bitcoin on the same market. You can go in and buy XRPs. I would recommend that. Do your own research. But my research indicates that the US government is going to switch from an oil-backed currency to a crypto-backed currency. And so as rich as these oil barons were in the last century, crypto barons will be in this century. And if you jump on now, maybe you will. I mean, I know people who bought Bitcoin when it was 50 cents a coin, and it's now 6,700 US dollars per coin. That's like a 1,200% markup. That means if Ripple has the same incremental growth, and you buy $100 now, that'll be worth $120,000 if it inflates. Now, I'm not saying this because we can get rich, but it might be a safe place to store your money, because maybe even gold will lose its value. We don't know. Diversify. If you have a lot of money, diversify. I've got no money, so this computer is the most valuable thing that I own, so I don't need to diversify. But if you have a lot, diversify. Bitcoin, gold, silver, Ripple. I would suggest Ripple. Today is April 5th also. You might know Austin Steinbart, who claims to be Q. He also threatened Queen Margrethe of Denmark that if she does not sell Greenland to the United States, the US military will kill her. And April 5th, today, is the deadline. So keep an eye on Greenland. We don't know if it'll happen immediately or if things are happening that the media won't let out. But keep an eye on that, because if that's true, then that's huge. If the US ends up owning Greenland, then that verifies Austin and his entire story. He suggested Ripple and Bitcoin to me, and then I did my own research. I can post some articles below where the US Treasury backed Ripple in around January and then again in March. And then March 22nd is when Trump allegedly took control of the Federal Reserve. So great things are happening from my perspective. Right now is a time to go inside and do research. Apparently, Facebook and Google are not censored right now, so we can share this information. So now is the time to educate yourself. I believe there will be 10 days of darkness, because I do follow QAnon, and a lot of his stuff has come, heard there. A lot of the QAnon predictions have come true. A lot of it is disinformation, because disinformation is necessary. But there might be 10 days of darkness, which I believe will mean internet and everything goes out for 10 days. If that happens, don't panic. Try not to go outside. Try to have as much food and water as you can so that you could survive without even leaving your house for 10 days if necessary, because we don't know what kind of sleeper cell terrorists might be out on the streets who, or just insane people, because MKUltra mind control is very real, and I can describe to you how they break a person from birth. First of all, they're born premature on purpose, because a premature baby is in so much pain being ripped from the mother's womb prematurely that they dissociate. And once a human is in the habit of dissociating, you can drive that even further. So first they're born premature, then their programmer, which might be their parent, biological parent, or their caregiver, but their programmer bonds with the child, and for 18 months gives them nothing but love. After that 18 months, once the bond is built, it's broken in the most horrendous ways, in a way designed to traumatically shatter the psyche of the child, crack it into pieces, and then you can program different pieces that might not even know about each other. And that's what most of our Hollywood celebrities, most of our politicians, and most of our CEOs are these kind of people. They're either have been programmed this way, or they're the kind of people who would program even their own children in this way. And I believe those are the people that are being taken out by Trump and the US military and patriots from all around the world. And patriot doesn't mean you're loyal to your country. Patriot comes from pater, which is father. It means someone who's willing to stand up for what is right. That is a patriot. It can be a man, woman, child, transvestite, transgender, anything. But a patriot is someone who takes father-like responsibility for others. So patriots all around the world are putting their lives on the line and cleaning out the cabal. And I believe, in 2018, the U.S. Department of Defense spent $500 million training combat teams to fight underground warfare. And I've been reading for a decade now about all these underground bases, and you believe it, but you don't know how much you can believe. But the Pentagon spending $500 million to train the military to fight underground, and now they have the biggest training exercise in 25 years, where the most U.S. troops and forces are in Europe right now. They said a lot of it was canceled, but come on, really? Trump just sent the military to the Caribbean, which, hello, Epstein Island is in the Caribbean, and then Venezuela. I really think they're cleaning up. We've seen a military response to this coronavirus outbreak, which we know isn't even as bad as the flu. The numbers, are not as bad as the flu. The media is telling us it's worse than the flu. You can't compare it to the flu. How dare you compare? The numbers are not. There haven't been 80,000 people dying worldwide from this, but the military is responding to it. Like Trump calls it the invisible enemy, and he says this is a war we have to win this week. That's not the kind of language you talk about for a pandemic outbreak where only 65 to 70,000 people have died worldwide. I'm sorry. I don't believe it. But you do your own research. I'm going to get this video up, so the links might not be in the video description right away, because I just want to get this message out to give people hope and to realize that it's looking really good. And if you're really worried, keep an eye on people like me, because I will be the first to disappear if shit hits the fan, because they will knock on my door and I will be infected and I will be taken off, and whatever happens, happens. But we can't let fear stop us, and we can't let fear drive our behaviors anymore. I believe in the goodness of humanity because I believe in my own goodness. And so if you believe in your own goodness, start talking to people about what you think is going on. Even if you're wrong, just talk. Stop blindly believing what the media tells us, and just talk amongst yourselves and think about what makes sense, and think about what feels right. And yeah, we're stuck indoors, but that doesn't mean we have to stop living. So thank you for your attention, and thank you for your time. Stay safe, stay positive. If you have any money, I would invest in Ripple. Even if it's fake and enough people invest, then we'll make money, because the demand for it will drive up the price. So let's do it. But diversify. If you have a lot to lose, diversify. Don't keep it all in the bank, because the banks could collapse tomorrow. Don't keep it all in gold or silver, because where are you going to keep all that? People can come in and steal it, or it could be in a bank that collapses, or repossessed by the military. So diversify. Put a bit here, put a bit there. Bitcoin, Ripple, Ethereum. There's all kinds of different cryptocurrencies are pretty safe. So diversify. I suggest Ripple. I suggest Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not going to go up, I don't think, very much. It might. I'm not a financial advisor. I have no money. My wife and I have given everything we have over the last several years towards educating people on cannabis and hemp. And I've been researching all of these conspiracies. Excuse me. So we have no money, but that's okay. If you do, diversify. But whatever you do, stay positive and send out those positive vibrations, because your thoughts and your feelings do have power, and we can use some positivity right now. So I love you guys. I love this life. The sun is shining right now, and let's hope that by April 12th, at least the United States, if not the world, will be back to normal. Keep your eyes on Greenland. Today is April 5th, so let's see what happens. And stay positive. Maybe say hi in the comments below. And if you feel down, just reach out to me. Maybe we can have a chat. And I can share directly some of my research. You can tell me your concerns, ask some questions, poke holes in it. I'm not afraid. Just don't be aggressive. I'm not trying to tell you what to think. I'm just saying think. I'm not telling you what to think. I just want you to think for yourself. Even if you think I'm wrong, tell me. Just be nice about it. So take care. You guys have a great day. Have a great weekend, great week. And stay safe, stay positive.